now that the colder months are here. I know, I live in Tenerife, I know, but it can get cold as well. You realize that houses aren't as sealed as you would like them to be, and there's always draft and breezes coming from windows. So I thought to make a draft stopper for our son's room, and then, well, I could make 1,000 more if I needed them, but let's start with this one. I'm going to be using some of this upholstery material that I use for an armchair, for an ottoman, and for more stuff. I'll leave you the link down in the description below, and some wadding for the filling, but it's an ideal project if you have little scraps as well, because you can make a patchwork one, multicolored, and the inside you can even cut little pieces of fabric you have, some remnants and scraps, and fill it in with that. So it's ideal for that, and as well for beginners, because it's a very easy project, very little seams, not complicated at all. So if you are sewing, if you're new in the sewing world and you would like some tips or some company while sewing, consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. It helps the channel a lot, and that way we are together in this. Ow! First things first, let's measure the door. My door is 72 by 3 centimeters. I leave a bit more so it slides in properly. This one is going to be one of these double ones that slide underneath the door, so you have to measure properly, and I think there's more ways to do it. You can do it only on one side and put some Velcro, but I think this one really seals the door because it goes underneath, so I think it's a bit of a vacuum effect. So I'm going to need 2 pieces of material. I'm going to cut them 74 centimeters long for seam allowance, and then the first one is going to be smaller, it's going to just be filled in, and then the second one is the one that's going to be filled in and then has the space for underneath the door. I'm going to cut 2 rectangles of material and sew them right sides together on the sides, fill them with wadding, secure it with a seam, and sew them to each other to make this draft stopper. Once I have my first rectangle cut, I'm going to cut the second one at least 10 centimeters wider, so that's the room I need for the door and seam allowance. And to start sewing, I'm going to sew it right sides together along the side seams, and this is the bit that's going to make like this sort of sachets that we're going to fill in. And now with my very long sachets done, it's time to fill them. I used some wadding and I took advantage and also put in there some extra bits I had from other projects. I always keep everything, you never know when they come useful, and this was the time. You can also fill them in with some cushion padding you're not using, or some even scraps, and that way you make out the most of your sewing room and you don't throw away stuff. And now what we have to do is to sew really close to this edge, to this wadding bit, and the best thing is to use the zipper foot because you can get really in the seam. And now I'm going to fold the excess of the longest one, the biggest one I have, to put the other one in and sew again. It's true that this material I'm using, this fabric, is upholstery material, so it's quite thick. But it's also true that I have a big gap underneath our door, so be aware of the gap you have before choosing your material. And sewing really close again, it will be finished. So let's see how it slides. So this has been it for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments what you thought, if you've made one, if you're planning to make one, or if you've used fabric scraps to make yours. And don't forget to subscribe, I would really appreciate it. It helps the channel a lot, and that way you don't miss anything because we make lots of things around here. And I leave you a link here to other ideas to give as presents or even to sell. So stick around for a while.